Welcome to Western Park for the Fairhaven Homes Match of the Round, proudly supported by Totally Workwear Gippsland stores. New store opening in Pakenham and existing stores in Traralgon, Warragul and Wonthaggi. Today, we'll see Warragul Industrials and Kilcunda-Bass face off in an intriguing clash. Warragul Industrials are coming off of 2 consecutive wins, including a 138-point drubbing of Corumburra and a resilient 11-point win over Bunyip last week in a low-scoring affair. Diametrically, Kilcunda are positioned at 1-4 and would love to see a win on the board after 3 successive losses. Ominous clouds above, but for the moment it seems to be windy at the most. Kyle Pover alongside me for special comments today. Pre-game show is sponsored by Fuse by King G. Kyle, will Warragul continue their superlative form or can Kilcunda break the drought?
Yeah, it's good to be here, Dylan. I think Warragul will be too strong for Kilcunda, although I reckon they might fancy themselves with the conditions that we're faced with out here. It has cleared up since the reserves game a bit earlier, which was won convincingly by the Dusties. Looking forward to a good game. But yeah, I think certainly Warragul are going to be hard to beat on their home deck. They're well coached. I made mention to you on the way here that their coach Hamit Singh is one of, if not the best, country footy coach going around. So they're a well-oiled team, lots of good players, and excited to see what they can produce because no doubt they'll be there when the whips are cracking. So
we'll have a look at last week for either side. We'll start with Kilcunda. They were leading 28-16, as I mentioned, in a low-scoring affair against Kuwi Rupp. Kuwi Rupp kicked 3 goals 16 for the game, including 2 goals 6, and Kilcunda went scoreless in the last quarter to lose by 6 points. Now, Nathan Foote, Dale Gawley and Darcy Clay were mentioned as the best 3 players for Kilcunda, so we'll keep an eye on them for today. And for Warragul, an 11-point win against Bunyip, 7-4 to 5-5, a game that they were actually trailing by 15 at half-time, and then their leading goal kicker for the year, Mason McGarity, with 14 through 5 games. He kicked 2 goals, and he was amongst their best players alongside Michael Ablett, Will Gibson and Mark Bradley. So, as we mentioned, 3-2 Warragul Industrials, 1-4 for Kilcunda, and we will see. I'm looking forward to this clash. The conditions, as you mentioned, are clearing up, and the umpires are out there not long before kickoff.
Yep, looking forward to it, as we said, Dylan. I think they're 3-2, which probably suggests they may be a middle-of-the-road team, but the teams they've lost to have, been up the top end as well. So no doubt they'll be probably versing some of these sides come finals at the end of the year, as we just have a look at the Warragul side warming up in front of us. I might make mention as well, just for the viewers out there, we're having a few technical difficulties at the moment regarding our camera, but we do have another one on the way. So we might be having the first couple of minutes of this broadcast strictly audio only. However, we'll be updating the scoreboard as per usual. And as soon as we get this other camera, which is not far away, I believe, I've just been told they've just passed Garfield. So we might still get it in time for the game, but if not, that's the reason why you'll see a black screen. That said, we'll have a graphic up and we'll be communicating with you throughout the day as to how far off we are with the camera, because we'd love to be able to show you the broadcast from a visual aspect going forward. As it looks like the 2 captains meeting out in the middle for the toss. So we'll keep an eye and see who wins the toss there. It's Shane Brewster, captain of Warragul, who's won the toss, and he's going to kick towards the left of screen.
So as you mentioned, Warragul, they're 3-2. They're 6th on the ladder. Kilcunda are 8th. But Warragul, they had a 138-point win the week before last against Corumburra, and Mason McGarity kicked 7, which is half of his total to date, and Brun with 4 and Ogden with 3. I'd like to say that we wouldn't see another 138-point loss today, but given their form, 2 straight wins as opposed to Kilcunda, who have lost 3 on the trot, it is very possible.
Yeah, absolutely. What it does showcase is potentially an evenness. I mean, Warragul are 6th, so currently not even in the top 5 for the finals, and they're only 2 spots above Kilcunda-Bass, but they find themselves 2 games clear. So Yeah, it will be interesting today to see who stamps their authority. I don't think we're in for a blowout. I think the conditions will certainly make it a little bit difficult for scoring, particularly early. It might dry up as the day goes on, but there was a little bit of rain in the reserves earlier. So, yeah, I'm not expecting a massively high-scoring game, but what I am expecting from the games that I've been watching throughout this season in this West Gippsland League is it's certainly a very physical league. So I'm expecting a lot of big bodies around the contest and yeah, lots of contested footy and hardball gets for sure.
So Warragul are just exiting their huddle now. Kilcunda still having a speech from their captain. That's Jake Waitman for today.
Now, we're being told he is the brother of Cody Waitman. Dead ringer. He is if you walk past him in the street, you might actually confuse him for Cody. Funny about that, considering they're brothers and related, but Cody Waitman wears number 13 as well, does he? Yep. So they've got the same number, they've got the same hairstyle. Let's see if he's as dynamic and exciting as what Cody is, because he certainly, although injured at the moment, he certainly brings a bit of life and spirit to the game of AFL.
Are we sure that it isn't Cody Waitman? We've seen Ben Mackay and Harry Mackay.
That is true.
A few conspiracies that it is the same person.
I'm 100% convinced that Harry and Ben Mackay are the same person. It's you know, a couple of you can pass it off as a coincidence a few times, but 7 or 8 years down the track and they still haven't played each other. I don't think it's a coincidence anymore. I think it's fact that Ben Mackay and Harry Mackay are the same person.
So a potential imposter as we just see Kilcunda going to their elected positions. And in the ruck we will have Jackson Mockett for Warragul, and he's up against Dale Gawley. So all set.
I think it's Will Gibson. They've changed numbers on us last minute.
All set, ready to go. There's the bounce. Gibson able to knock it down, and in the mix was Mackenzie. And the whistle blows. We'll have a free kick going Warragul's way. That'll be in the hands of Nick Visser. The first real meaningful possession of the game. Just waiting for the ball to be sent back to him. Now it finally is. He'll play on. Hand pass into the path of a teammate who launches it forward into the forward pocket, going back with the fly with the Kilcunda defenders. Probably should have been taken. And now a chance for Warragul to repel. Centering ball, still in the forward line. Loping after it is Beveridge. He hand passes across to a teammate, and now they have reinforcements. Right to full forward. Going up for the fly was Gibson. Couldn't drag it down. He'll still go with the second effort, being persistent, but the umpire's called a free kick. And that will be for Anthony Dario, I believe. In fact, it's Sorozinski towards the wing area now. The numbers multiply for the Warragul players. Luke Walker, he'll just regress back to the wing. Comfortable mark taken, and now they can head through the corridor. The switch is on here. They played the outer side. Kyle Staples, and he'll move it quickly. He has a man in Russell. The opposite wing to where they begun. So a bit of movement, but not a lot of progress. Now Kyle Beveridge is presenting a lead-up option, but instead Russell takes it upon himself. Right to half forward. Up for the fly was Hefford. Back down to ground. The ball's in dispute. Operations will continue until the umpire puts a halt to it.
Gee, that Kilcunda-Bass defenders and backline are working overtime at the minute. They're pumping the ball in, but they're doing well to hold them out so far to date.
Hefford knocks it down, but Sorozinski straight out of there to a one-on-one contest. Waitman couldn't stamp his authority, and Brewster, the captain of the Warragul, takes the mark. And now the kick towards left half forward. Warragul with another entry. It's a high ball, and sliding in to take the mark was Luke Walker, and he's had a few meaningful possessions early on. He'll line up about 25 metres out. No angle and probably not enough to harm the kick.
What I've liked so far from the Dusty side, Dylan, is every time they're going inside 50, they're looking for that hot spot at the top of the goal square, about 20, 25 metres out. It's almost a directive, you would think, coming from Singh, and the forwards are leading exactly to there.
Now, this is an unusual habitat for Luke Walker. Hasn't kicked a goal this year, but he can change that now. He's kicked the first for Warragul 3 minutes in, and now the scoreboard can say 1 goal straight to Warragul and 0-0 for Kilcunda. Sponsored by Totally Workwear Gippsland.
Yeah, as I was saying, Dylan, fantastic forward pressure there from the Dusties and just continuously putting it to that hot spot, making it difficult to defend, and a great sliding mark there from Walker. A bit of courage. He was coming back almost with the flight of the ball, so to slide in and take that mark gets them on the scoreboard early, and they'll be wrapped with that to start with.
So back in the middle we play. Again in the ruck was Watts, and the free kick's being called, so penalised against Nathan Foote, who, as I mentioned in the pre-game, was the best on ground for Kilcunda last week. Now it's Visser, his second possession. He lodges a ball forward, has to bounce obligingly for McGarity, and he was quickly poached, and it's a free kick for Kilcunda in the back line. Plays on. They interchange through hands, Mock, and they're flirting with danger here. Sorozinski on the outer side in the back pocket, and it spills out of bounds, and the umpire will take it away for a throw-in.
Yeah, they're certainly working overtime at the minute, the Kilcunda-Bass defenders. They're peppering them at the moment, the Warragul side, but with all their dominance, they've only got the 1 goal on the board.
And in the meantime, Hefford takes it out the ruck, but comes up a little skinny for a minor score. 1-1-7 to 0-0 on the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. 4.5 minutes in. And now from fullback, it's Daniel Mock. His kick, well, to his own detriment. Warragul now can repel. Sitting underneath it was Watts. Didn't take the mark, but fetched it again. Oldham entering the scene. He'll have a quick 1-2 with a teammate. Short balls on, and enough to obstruct it from Crawford. And now they can exit the back line. Tapped forward by Eddie. Soccering along the ground. Just inside the forward 50 for Warragul. Debenham picks it up. He tackles his opposing number, and then Debenham goes again. Hand pass across, 15 metres out from goal. The check side has hit the post from Kyle Beveridge. And it's 1-2 to 0-0. Now, they're quite stagnant from the kick in here. Would you say that, Kyle?
Yeah, they are. They're setting up that zone perfectly. If they're able to get out the back just there, but they couldn't get clean disposal, could the Dusties? The Kilcunda-Bass side. Motd
attempting to barge his way through, but to no avail.
Now, it's fair to say, watching the reserves, that the left of screen is probably your goal-scoring end as well, so maybe kicking with a slight advantage in this first quarter are the Dusties.
Broadcast side wing, and the umpire spots a free kick, and this will be to Zach Gorsuch. Quickly hand passes off to Nathan Foote. Down the line for Waitman. Here he is. The first real glimpse at him, just dropped it, and he just runs like his brother as well. I'm convinced it's him. Back down the wing, flying for the mark was Irving. Couldn't take it, but now they're out the back, streaming forward to Warragul, right to the goal mouth, and the mark is taken. And who else would it be but Mason McGarity?
Yeah, they hurt them big time there on the turnover. They just caught them out of position there, and he's quickly played on. He's actually kicked the goal.
And so he has. Mark it in. It's his 15th goal of the season. Now, he was waiting for the signal, and it's finally given. And Warragul are off to a quick start.
I'd quickly look down, and he sort of dribbled it along the ground whilst his Kilcunda-Bass opponent there is it Stewart? No, in fact, no, it's Dan Mock. So Dan Mock's got the big job on McGarity, and he must have caught him off guard because he quickly played on and dribbled it through. So a few headaches early, I think, for the Kilcunda-Bass side. Early days. They haven't gone inside 50 too much yet. But as we saw there, it looks like if they can get it in quickly to Waitman, he looks like he's a live wire.
He does.
So they can just get it inside 50 for him.
So 1 for Mason McGarity and 1 for Luke Walker as we resume hostilities in the middle. And now Kilcunda exiting through Dario. It dribbles and trickles along the ground, and finally Mackenzie can make an impact. Errant hand pass, but they edge it forward slightly again. Whipping on the right. It was a Kilcunda forward. It'll have to bounce nicely for Waitman, but he didn't do enough to reach the defender. And now for Warragul, it's Walker. He's everywhere at the moment. That's a great spoil from Skipin. So centre wing, broadcast side will have a throw in just in front of the interchange benches. 2-2 to 0-0. Warragul lead it at the moment. Roving and enforcing his will was Nick Visser, but again to no avail. It was holding the ball. Kilcunda can reply. Benjamin Eddy through the centre. Look at the Warragul defenders just corralling them all, but Sorozinski found a way through and perforated a hole through every defender that came his way. And Nathan Foote now on the wing. So he'll drive it up to the right half forward position. It somehow manages to stay in. Now here is Waitman. He's unguarded. He has plenty of space, just couldn't pick it up. And he was quickly buried into the turf. And we'll have a ball up about 20 metres out from their goal.
He had a little bit more time than I think that he initially thought, Waitman. He had time enough there to bend over, pick it up and run into the open goal, but not to be.
Paddle down. And the umpire again has seen a free kick. It'll go Dale Gawley's way. Now, not the simplest of tasks here. He's about 25 metres out, but he's tucked up against the boundary line. And if he kicks this, it could just be the impetus that they need. Or at least a slight shift. So in he comes. 25 metres out. Steady approach. And he's kicked it. No worries at all for Dale Gawley. Kilcunda are finally on the board. 2-2-14 to Warragul. One straight for Kilcunda-Bass on the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard.
Yeah, probably against the tide there. That one for the Killy-Bass side. Although they've slowly started to get into the game a little bit in the last couple of minutes, they were able to just lock it inside that forward 50. And I think, based on the conditions, I think that's going to be the key today, is if you win that centre clearance and lock the ball inside 50 and have repeat entries, I think it's going to make it difficult for defenders.
Just over 10 minutes in the first quarter. It's Warragul by 8. Ruckman knocks it down. Foot this time. Hand passing through for Mackenzie, who crashed his way into the pack, and we'll have a ball up on the wing. Conditions slowly improving. We did have a menacing grey cloud, but it's just gone over our heads. So it looks like it's clearing, and that's an illegal jump in the ruck against Jackson Mockett. And Ethan Watts will take the free kick. Quickly hand passed it into the path of Dorio, who surges through the middle, and that is a searing ball. And his teammate just took a slip. That was Baxter to the forward pocket this time. Lurking was Watts. And his opposite number for Kilcunda centres it, and the mark is taken about 30 metres out. They'll have a second shot at goal, and they're beginning to be competitive. As I said, just the one goal can turn the state of play.
Yeah, well, I think as we just spoke about before, they're able to win the centre clearance, and that it's vital in these conditions to be able to get that first advantage and get it inside 50, because early days Warragul were able to get it out of there early, and now Killy-Bass are, and they're starting to dominate now.
Dale Crawford trots in 30 metres out, slight angle off the boot. It looks good, and it is. And he shaves the margin to 2. It's 2-2-14 to 2 straight. Warragul, by that margin, 2 points on the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. And the trend for today seems to be goal kickers who haven't kicked a goal this season. We've had Dale Crawford just then kick one for Kilcunda, and Luke Walker for Warragul. Yeah,
well, I think you'll take that if you're both sides. It means you're a little less predictable. Just looking now, looks like Waitman's having a spell in the middle, so he'll push inside. Maybe it's to give that little bit of run on the outside and a little bit of a spark.
12.5 minutes by in the first quarter. Spills out. Kilcunda again. This time it's Eddie Third possession for the game, but it was intercepted. Necessary intervention from Hefford. And a ball up almost exactly in the centre of the ground. There's the throw up. Bit of background noise, apologies for that. But in the meantime, not a lot of action. Still remains ajar. Waitman piles on top, and the umpire will call it back. Again in the centre of the oval. Falling down was Motd. The umpire didn't see a free kick, so in the meantime, it's Brewster. Just hand passing back for Andravon. Across the back flank now they move it. Just approaching the wing. They interchange through hands. It's Commodore. And now a probing ball. A one-on-one contest. It was Russell in there. And in the mix again is Waitman. Hand pass across. Still on the wing. Not a lot of progress being made. But finally Warragul find a way out. Searching ball forward. That's it's dropped a mark. It was probably should have taken. The danger was enough to intimidate Tyler Irving. Across the back line they go, but it's intercepted. And now a shot on goal is good from Warragul. They kicked their third, and that time it was Travis Stuckey, the emergency. He was listed as the emergency, and he's actually played, and I guess they'd be happy that he is now. 3-2-20 to 2 straight 12 reads the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. It was a costly fumble in the back line. And Irving had plenty of teammates and hand passed it to the one red jumper. And the goal was kicked by Stuckey. Ball up. They all rabid in there. Waitman lays a good tackle. So does Braun in the thick of things. Ball up. So it's Warragul by 8, but it's been a great contest thus far. Knocked down. That time it was Motd in the ruck. Mackenzie. And now this kick will go to centre half forward. Good use of the body by Sorosinski was enough to affect Skopin. And at 30 metres out from goal they lay. This time it's Gawley. Shrugging off a few tackles and now thrusting himself at the football was McGarity. Centres it for Beveridge, who can have a shot. Similar position to where Luke Walker kicked his first goal. "30 metres out at the most is Kyle Beveridge. Can extend the margin to 14. Swings on the left. Off the boot. It looks good, and it is. Another major on the board, and they lead it by 14. So they begun the game with 2 goals, and in reply, Kilcunda put 2 on the board, and Warragul will kick another 2. That time it was Kyle Beveridge. And we should have the camera up soon. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Nearly 17 minutes in the first quarter. Gawley climbs the ladder and Beveridge again lays the kick out. It trickles along the ground, but Kilcunda in the back line stood tall and firm, and the juggling mark is reeled in by Grenis. On the left, down the line, and the intercept mark for Warragul that time by Braden Hefford. Now he was listed as a centre half forward, but he's been working across that back line. The pack forms again. This time Beveridge slipped to ground. The ball is still there to be won. This time it's Eddie again. His 4th possession of the game. Across to Grenis, who was hampered, but enough to get away the hand pass. It was almost collected. It's on the boundary line. They're right on the barrier. And finally, the umpire blows the whistle.
Vision back on. Dylan, we've got the new camera here, so we do apologise for the first bit of that first quarter, but we're all good to go. Tucked up here inside. Luckily, it's a little bit chilly outside.
And in the meantime, goalie, who's kicked one goal, puts that forward, but in the hole for Warragul.
We also apologise for the big light pole in the way.
So Phillips just impeding play, Mock searching, and Staples to cut it off. So right on centre half back, nearly 18 and a half minutes gone. Goalie joins the throng, rising for the grab, and paid the free kick was Adrian DeSando. And he'll kick to right half forward, a one-on-one. It's again Skipin works his way out the back. And that's a good measured ball. And at centre half forward sits Benjamin Eddy. On the left, he chips inside. It was a great lead from Will Gibson.
We've already spoken about it, Dylan, but what I really like from the Warragul forwards is they're all leading to that hot spot. Just then, there was three of them that could have taken your pick who was going to mark that. They're all trying to get out, have easy shots, because it's much easier to have a shot from this position as it is to the pocket.
So Will Gibson, 30 metres out, straight in front. It won't go the whole journey. It was nearly dragged down. In the end, they work it out of there. It's a high ball, and the bounce was unkind for Zach Stewart, and it reaches the destination of the boundary line.
He's a live wire, is McGarity, isn't he? He nearly created something from nothing there.
Shallow throw in, up in the ruck, tap down. Kilcunda need to exit out of there. They wouldn't want to concede another before quarter time. Here's McGarity again. Just pokes it over the top. They all fell down. And it's garnered by Skipin right along the boundary. And Motd inserting himself and centres it towards, again, Anthony Braun, I believe it is. In fact, Anthony Braun.
Now, the umpires put him right on the angle here, so it's not necessarily a straightforward kick.
So that's the task ahead of him. Every bit of confidence in Braun, and he kicks the goal. And that's the costly goal that they did not want to concede, Kilcunda. The scoreboard reads 5-2, 32 to 2 straight. Nearly 21 minutes has passed in the first quarter.
Probably does reflect, though, the scoreboard as the dominance that they have had for the majority of this quarter, though.
And now again, out of the middle. Off the runway, Warragul, they go forward, Jolly in the mix. Picking it up was Motd. Needs to spot a teammate, and he did have one, but it was slightly deflected. And now Kilcunda on the prowl. Umpire says free kick, a dangerous tackle. And it'll come back to Nathan Foote. So Foote, it's a wide kick to the wing. And tucked up along the boundary line was the midfielder for Kilcunda, but he dropped the mark, and now they can enter forward 50, and the mark again by Anthony Braun, who's already kicked one, and he has been a prominent goal kicker for them. That kick a little astray, but fortuitously it falls into Thomas Commodaire's hands.
Well, sounding like a broken record now, but what was his first instinct there, Dylan? Just looking straight into that corridor. So probably something Kilcunda-Bass will look to rectify at quarter time. Maybe a message goes out, just making sure that they've got numbers filling up that space and not allowing the Warragul forwards to just lead into it, because it's giving them easy shots on goal.
Thomas Commodaire again on the left. It's swinging back towards goal. Wasn't enough. It still stays alive. And McGarity almost corralled him. One-on-one on the wing now. And a nice punch from Bailey Beck to see it out. again on centre wing. Just under 23 minutes has passed. So Kilcunda, 2 goals straight, but they're not attacking the scoring end. So we'll see what they can do next quarter as Crawford kicked it, but only into the hands of the Warragul defence. Motd again, who just missed that shot on goal. A little pot kick for Luke Walker. The one so far, and now they're ready to activate their midfielders through the middle. That hand pass was quickly chopped off and is gone with the second effort. Here's Waitman, broke the shackles, kicked on the left to a 2-on-1. And Kyle Staples was there at centre half back, just honouring the voice of the defender behind him. Now Brewster. Up the wing they move slowly. It's Gorsuch versus Debenham.
Like Kyle Staples, start to this game. Seems like a real reliable defender. Not much getting past him. Nothing fancy, just getting the job done.
You can always appreciate one of those players on your team as that throw-in just eludes everyone. And we've got a holding free kick going to Dale Crawford. Plenty of length in the kick, and again, an inexplicable drop really. Waitman bursting through. But Ablett was there to intervene, and they quickly chop up something through the middle. Walker off to another teammate. That's very, very wide. In fact, it'll almost trickle over the boundary line. He'll have to walk the tightrope here. Jolly. Chip reaches Beveridge, has already kicked one, sizes it up on the left. Motd probably should have taken the mark. But it's 10 metres out, if that, outside their goal. Nearly 25 minutes passed in the first quarter. So Motd will look to rectify the situation, just takes it out of the ruck, and now to Beveridge. He did the team thing, centred it for McGarity, who's already kicked one and can be the first multiple goal kicker of today's game.
He's another lively type. Beveridge liked his start to this game. They got some dangerous small forwards to the Dusties.
No hesitation, just plays on and drills it. And a 26-point lead has opened up for Warragul, 6-2, 38 to 2 straight on the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard.
Gee, made the goal umpire work a little bit for 10 metres out directly in front.
He did. As long as he kicked it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all that matters.
So it's Warragul by 26 points. Anything to amend for Kilcunda? You mentioned the corridor in their defence.
I think it's just the centre clearances. It's really key in a day like today. So once they were able to win those centre clearances, they were able to assert a little bit of authority and lock the ball inside 50.
So they go forward again, that time through goalie. It's broken up in the air, and Baxter will hunt it down. They all collide. It's unstuck. And wait for the umpire to finally call this as a ball up, and he does. They'd love a late reply. 26.5 minutes into the first quarter. And that time it's goalie again. It's a tough angle. It's across the face of goal and into the hands of the Warragul defence. And now they can go. Plenty of room on the wing. Blistering forward are the defenders for Warragul. That kick slightly miscued. In fact, it almost evaded everyone except Motd, or Foot rather. But they're able to intervene. That time it was Warragul. Again, forward they go. Skipin had two defenders to contend with rather. Sorozinski the most significant, and he received a bit of protection from his teammate. Kicks long up the wing, and again, goalie clutches the mark, or does he? We'll wait for the umpire's take on it, and he says it's a throw-in. And there's a free kick given. Not quite sure how that was adjudicated, but in the meantime, it didn't really matter because the defender made a meal of it, and Kilcunda enter again. Rummaging upfield was Ablett, kick was smothered, and there's the siren. So a competitive first quarter. We saw Warragul kick the first 2 goals. Kilcunda replied, but then Warragul piled on another 4. And at quarter time, the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard reads 6-2-38 to 2 straight 12.
Yeah, it was a look. It probably ended up reflecting how the game was heading there for a bit there. I think, Dylan. I think Warragul started the game like a house on fire. Kilcunda-Bass were able to kick the next 2. But that second half of that quarter, Warragul certainly asserted their dominance. And as we spoke about a number of times throughout that quarter, they're just looking to go to that hot spot, and they're being unselfish, which is a sign of a good team as well. They're prepared to put it to a teammate who's in a better position goal-wise, and yeah, they're reaping the benefits at the moment.
So we'll take a quick break. The Fairhaven Homes match of the round. It's Warragul by 26 points at quarter time against Kilcunda.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. And it's feeling like I've been enough. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. And it's feeling like I've been enough. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community.
Second quarter about to begin. Warragul by 26 points. McGarity, who's led the scoring all year for them, has led the side again. He's kicked 2 thus far in the first quarter. And he's just hiding in that forward pocket as we resume play. And again, they exit out the middle. Warragul moving forward. This time it's McGarity from 50 out. Eyes venture to the square. It might bounce all the way through. And we'll wait for the signal. It has. So McGarity's kicked 3. Right on cue. To the opposite end of the ground, the non-scoring end, as we heard from our expert commentator. And again, we do apologise for the technical difficulties. Just working through them at the moment. And as the umpire throws it up, it's Warragul by 32 points. Kick was smothered, but Kilcunda can go forward. gracefully out of the middle. Slowly chiselled inside effectively. They're still about 40 metres out from goal. And Gibson with a great tackle. Watts obviously didn't look in the rearview mirror. So it's a wide kick to the wing. And Bailey Beck used as a reference this time. Oh, almost juggle it, and there was 2 players from Kilcunda organising a meeting on him, and we'll have another free kick this time, centre wing. And it'll come back into the hands of James Phillips. So the camera is all good to go. And a bit of miscommunication there, potentially, as Gooley and Gorsuch couldn't reel it in. So both sides with just the one inside 50, 2 minutes into the second quarter. The difference was Warragul could capitalise, but there was nobody on the goal line, interestingly enough. And McGarity kicked his third. Mockett kicked off the deck, and falling to the ground again was Dario for Warragul, or rather Bradley. That's a sweeping kick, and Mark again was dropped. And indiscriminately searching up the wing. Not a lot of meterage on it, but just enough to find Brewster, whose kick was precise for Visser. And again, down the wing, free kick has been pinned. Umpire luckily didn't goal advantage, because that was holding the ball for sure if he did. Anthony Brun on the wing to right half forward. Sliding in is Will Gibson. And he'll kick short again, and they'll manufacture a mark. This time it's Will Jolly. A similar position to where Dale Gawley kicked a goal in the first quarter.
I wouldn't say no to delivery like that as a forward every time. He can lace out.
Will Jolly, right footer, the wrong side for a right footer. But we'll see if you can make it work off the boot. It's fading right, and it stays that way. So they'll re-enter play. Kick across the back line. Daniel Mock to Sorozinski's hands now. We'll honour the voice of many players that congregated the wing. Mark wasn't dragged down. Someone was taken off of play. Umpire lets it roll. It's escorted out. So another stoppage. A few clearances here for Warragul early. And as Kyle mentioned, that delivery before was perfect into the forward line. This time though, it's Kilcunda to reply. Just on centre half forward, and we'll see if they can make it work. And trucking it down will be the defenders. They all swarm, no one went for ball. Sando in the thick of things. And we'll have a ball up about 30 metres out to Q-Nagel. Towards goal. So the ruckman contend in the air. It's Motd again. Knocking it down, nearly taken away, he ducked the head, the umpire didn't reward the high, instead it was holding the ball.
Because technically it's delivery law, if you duck into the tackle, as I think he did there, it is a prior opportunity and therefore holding the ball. Probably wouldn't argue if it was paid high, but I'm all for the umpire paying that one, as long as they're consistent, as long as they're able to pay that consistently throughout the day.
Dale Crawford, the one goal thus far. They've got a long way to go. They're 33 points down, and he can certainly start something here. It'll just fall short, and a big set of knuckles to knock it through, and that's their first behind of the day. 7-3 to 2-1. It's the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard, and that's a rigorous ball into the hands of Brewster, the captain, Mr. Reliable. Walker Makes the mark and kicks short. This time they'll play it through the corridor. Brewster found a little channel to lead into. To centre half forward. How's the bounce? It was accommodating initially and then it fell to ground. He scraps the hand pass out. But to an opponent. And Kilcunda can reply. Here's Stucky, the emergency. Kicked a goal in the first quarter. A little bit of leeway, but enough for Baxter to take the mark. He'll play on quickly. Wandering ball forward. Waitman here to make his presence felt, and look at him. He prevented Brewster from escaping. Did enough to cause the ball up. Plenty of conversation out there. That time it was Brewster again knocking it down, but Phillips found a way out. To full forward, Waitman, and that is a great spoil out of bounds by Kyle Staples, as you mentioned in the first quarter. Just a big, robust body, and he's not allowing anyone to take advantage.
No, you wouldn't expect him to get out there one-on-one with Waitman. He had a fair bit of height and size on him, so ideally you'd like that in the deck if you're Kilcunda-Bass.
This will be a free kick to Warragul. Brewster again, who has an appetite for the footy at the moment.
He's been very reliable, as we've said throughout the day.
Quick assessment of what was ahead. Marked by Jolly. Sorozinski this time went head first, head over the ball, and he was rewarded for it, or his teammate was. Either way, it'll be in their control. Sorozinski maybe calling for it just to the right. Not sure whether he's considering other offers or he thinks he has the distance, but he plays on, wheels on the right. It's swinging up, nearly taken by goalie, but they're still floating around. Finally, the defence able to concede it behind. And quickly playing on. Beveridge. Laterally. Walker. Walker on the left. Could have been a nasty collision. And yeah, it's a great mark. Play on to Kane Oldham. Into the middle. All spills. Foot. And again to intervene. McKenzie to a one-on-one. They'll have numbers out the back. He'll run towards goal, closing into it. And that's another goal for Warragul. Michael Debenham kicks his first of the day.
Almost the old Hayden's paddock footy there, just pushing numbers up the ground and leading forward 50 open and just kicking it out of space and putting their forwards where I was going to do the rest.
51-14 reads the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard, and again, there's nobody playing the janitor role out the back for Kilcunda. It's the second goal. There's been a vacant goal square, and there's been plenty of territory to run forward and have an open shot.
Yeah, it is probably something of concern for the Kilcunda-Bass side. As soon as it gets out the back, they're just in a bit of trouble there, I think. So you're right, maybe they do look to have someone playing that quarterback swings role.
So Walker honouring the voice of his teammate in Visser. That mark is taken, and Visser with the 1-2, just collecting the disposals at the moment, delivers to centre half forward, and it's being plugged.
Looks like Gibson.
By Will Gibson.
I think he's got a little bit of Danny Richard there. Will Gibson. Maybe it's the Brisbane Lions-esque jumpers that the Dustins wear.
So you're predicting he'll kick this?
I'm predicting he'll kick it.
And he releases it.
Oh,
Good purchase, but just off to the left. Expert comments by Kyle Pover. So we're fullback and Gillivray. Down the line to the wing. Phillips had hands to it, but it falls out the back. And Kilcunda moving forward. Waitman was there, so was another teammate. He should pick this up. He has room to manoeuvre. He did the team thing and took the methodical approach. And playing on was Baxter, and he kicks their third.
Gee, they made some tough work out of it there. What was a certain goal became nearly a monumental stuff up there. Kilcunda-Bass side. Great work there, not to panic from Wakeman. They had the 3-1 and they had the numbers. It wasn't the greatest kick going inside 50, but he had enough time, so he just composed himself beautifully, and rather than blazing away on the wrong side for a right footer, he just put it in close to his teammate and was able to have the easy walk around snap, and yeah, great bit of play there.
So they lead this by 5 goals. Do Warragul, but Kilcunda peck one back. Just unglued for a moment. Motd was disrupted, and again, they're able to find a man on the outside, one-on-one, and held down illegally. Warragul was their defender, and that was against Kyle Staples, or rather James Phillips. Michael Ablett at centre-half back. Hoax one, wasn't 15, so Beveridge had to improvise. Plays on, kicks through the centre of the ground, and that is fashionable service for Gibson, who gave it off to Motd into the forward pocket now. Here's McGarity, he's a live wire, he swings onto the right to full forward, and just obstructing the field of play. Yeah, it was the Kilcunda defence, and didn't even cost their team a behind. It's out of bounds, we'll have a throw in.
One thing that is noticeable is the way that the Dusties were able to move the ball from there to every score from Kilcunda. They had to work really hard. The Dusties were able to transition the ball a lot smoother and a lot easier coming out of defensive 50.
That was the ride from Skipin from the throw-in, but the mark was taken by Visser. And he quickly gave it to her teammates, and now they're out. There's plenty of space and time, and he made sure to relish it into Sando. And the kick is out of bounds. Just bobbling out of the hands of their forward there. He's unable to control it. Plenty of altitude in the throw-in. Up forward again. And here's Beveridge snapping from the pack. And that is directly through the middle.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's a King G kind of goal day so far. Beautiful ruck work there from Braun. Just put it back out into the corridor, but you'd be kicking yourself from the Kilcunda-Bass coaching staff. I would have thought when you're in defensive stoppages, team will make sure that the goal side and the corridor is covered, and there was just far too much space for Beveridge to work within there.
An early contender for our King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day. And it's Warragul who kicked 9 goals for. Just under 15 minutes played in the second quarter. They lead this by 40 points. Up in the air, Gawley really got hands to it. They're all sprawled out on the turf. The umpire calls the ball up. This time, paddle down to the advantage again of no one in particular. There's a few Warragul players there in the midst of it. One was Kane Oldham. He bangs it to centre half forward. Fair pack beginning to eventuate. This time Motd on the left had it stripped of him. Someone was barreled into there. It floats around. And again, escaping was Oldham. Plenty of possessions racked up by him. That was a probing ball, but Skipin was unable to mark. Rather broad. Any observations so far in the second quarter of notice?
Look, probably just as what I said earlier, Dylan, I think the way that Warragul was able to move the ball going inside 50 and doing it in relative ease versus Kilcunda-Bass, but whenever they do have a break, it seems to make it really hard to work with.
Into the pocket, it was an interesting choice because Braun thought he was legally handed, but the umpire obviously didn't take note of it, and we'll have another ball in. about 20 metres out from Warragul's goal. They lead this by 38 points. 9-4 to 3 goals 2 on the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. And it'll be a free kick this time for Kilcunda. Back line. Now he has speed presenting as an option, and he did head in that direction, but in the end, it wasn't Speed who couldn't rope in the mark. It was Cartmel. Another throw up. 2 contend in the air. Brewster again stamping his authority. It falls to Beck. That's Todd Beck, right to his brother. And he copped a little bit after the play, but his kick somehow found comedy. Just on the edge of centre half forward is Jackson Mockett. He plays on, he strides and kicks long to full forward. It's off the deck and it's finally nudged through for a behind.
I thought he did enough there for a second. Liked his game as well. He presents as a difficult matchup. He's able to clump him in the air, he's quite agile once the ball hits the deck as well.
Nice poise from the defence there, able to keep composure and punch it through for a behind. And they'll have to do it again because they're swarming forward. This time it's Visser. It's out on the full. So they're just bombarding the defence, and to their credit, Kilcunda, they've held up well in the last couple of minutes. It's a 39-point margin, just approaching the 18th minute mark. So the pack forms again. Mockett, nice spoil by Speed. Floats through the air, does the Sharon. And Kilcunda can pick it up. They interchange through hands. Eddie across to the midfielder, and now vacant was Crawford on the wing. And now he elects to go, and he probably shouldn't have because they were all on top of him. Finally gets a hand pass out. Speed frees himself up. No choice but to kick there. Bouncing, bouncing out. Just avoiding Mason Phillips.
Felt like it's going a little bit longer this quarter for some reason.
High up and under from the throw in. Goalie, it's time Hefford scrambles to kick out of there and somehow Comedy has plenty of options. And that's a nice measured ball. And here is Brewster again off centre half back. To the wing, it's Mockett. Makes the mark, scouts a couple of alternatives, and in the end, the one he chose was Braun, who's already kicked one today. Now he's about 50 metres out from goal, and that's a pot kick. It'll bounce, it'll stay in play, and it's sent it again for Warragul. Here are the forwards. The defence needs to hold up for a moment. Do they have reinforcements? They don't, because finding a way out was Debenham. That would have been some sort of goal.
Yeah, great forward pressure there. Just keep locking in, repeating it there, which is, I'm sure, will please the Warragul coaches.
So Mackenzie motoring onto it, just held up for a moment. Makeshift hand pass, Eddie to the wing, and Leighton Cartman. His third possession this quarter. Just ticks over 20 minutes in the second quarter. Stuckey will fly for this. It's off hands, it splatters out the back. Beck. And now it's Oldham. Again to right half forward, a one-on-one. Needed to be cool and composed, and he was. Will Gibson. No goals to his name as of yet, but I think it's a little harsh to look at that stat. He's been doing all the one-percenters, and again, look at the service. Beautiful pinpoint ball.
Looks like it's a Gary.
Yep, Mason McGarry.
He's going to go top of the goal square, I reckon. Based off there, what they've been doing in the team, I reckon he's going to put his hot spot.
So Mason McGarry has already kicked 3. He's fanned that one wide. In fact, it's 2 wide, so Guess he didn't take the advice of our expert commentator here, Kyle Pover.
I thought he would, based off what they've done so far today, I thought he would top score.
Mackenzie. That kick is directed for James Phillips through the middle, who could have activated Dario and now does. And on the outer side, he's rummaging upfield for Benjamin Eddy. Right on the paint, and he'll quickly play on. And I think he had more time, or he thought he had more time than he actually did. Marcus Baxter. Now Warragul will advance. Right in the centre of the ground. He'll come back. As Nathan Foot takes the mark. Now the outstretched hands of Gawley. That's a high ball. And there'll need to be plenty of movement from the back by Crawford, but it's Sam Russell. He's there for Warragul. And there's plenty of outlets. Broadcast side, there's Bailey Beck. And the other way, Kyle Staples. Yeah, Michael Abbott. Chips. Again, they're happy to negotiate through the centre. It's Shane Brewster. He's been conspicuous all day. And a one-on-one, and the Garrett is somehow, some way, raked it in.
He read that well through the air. I reckon his Kilcunda-Bass opponent would be happy to have him from the front position. The ball just travelled out a little bit further out the back, and Gary did it perfectly.
3 goals today. Mason McGarity, along with the 14 others, he'll line up for his 4th. On the cusp of a 46-point margin, and that is another goal to his name. 10-6-66 to 3-2-20 on the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Not much of him. He sort of plays that hybrid type role where you think he's more of a small forward, but he's quite smart and very capable in the air. Always playing like that Jack Higgins style role where he's essentially a small full forward. He's probably a better way up together.
It's not archetype for sure. Much like Will Gibson, he's doing all the 1%ers as well. He has 4 goals to his name. And also has a contender, the King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day.
He does. I might just make mention as well. I mentioned his name throughout the broadcast. And just thought I'd pop it in there because he's a good guy.
Braden Hefford to centre half forward. Big fist from the back. Now Jolly across to a teammate who was quickly poached. And the ball spills, and now Kilcunda, they've got some plays through the middle. Eddie probably hoping to rectify the situation from before. Waitman, underground hand pass, and now it's Eddie again. Waitman was there, and Eddie took too long to dispose of it, and it's holding the ball. And that is a great tackle. It was tenacious as ever, wasn't he, Luke Walker? Or in the end, it's been reversed. Benjamin Eddy, this time for Kilcunda. It was a tenacious tackle though.
It was.
So just above centre half forward, Nathan Foot drills one inside 50 for Marcus Baxter. Kicks along the carpets and able to pick it up again, Warragul. They've been doing this all day, hence why Kilcunda have only kicked the 3 goals. And look at them all collide and crash, and it'll somehow work its way out the back. Just loping after it was Beveridge. He's already kicked 2 goals today. Down the wing again. Far side. And we'll have to go back on this line here. Gibson. Centre half forward again, and Braun.
He's attacking the ball, just fully fledged eyes for the footy only.
Severe pace.
Yeah, you're right, actually. That at time speed, so difficult mark to take. He's got his mind out for a shot. He's
55 metres out. It's a long kick. It has the distance on it. Was it touched on the line? I don't think it matters because it's going towards the goal again. Somehow they survived to Kilcunda. Maybe not that time. Well, they do again. It's across the face. And they are fraught with peril, but somehow are able to make it out unscathed. Gawley. Hand pass, a little ill-directed, but they did well. Now a comfortable kick for Grannis. Grannis lugs it up towards the wing. Baxter is there, but so with the big knuckles of Braden Hefford.
They've done pretty well this quarter to keep it away from this side. Yeah, really well with the camera. Trying our best to get this pocket.
And slightly obscured Hefford. Knocking it down. Here's Waitman. Refrained himself from giving it off initially and then found a teammate who launched it forward. It takes one bounce over the line. Nice throw in there. Gawley. Just off the boot of Nathan Foot. They'll be persistent with it. Waitman is there as well. Dispute was only found because Warragul. Here they go again. Kilcunda. Mark should be taken by Baxter. And is.
Perfect ruck work there.
There's the siren. A 47-point margin. Maybe only temporarily Marcus Baxter can give them a little bit of motivation entering the half. And he does. 10-7-67 to 4-2-26 on the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. That's a goal that you could say they desperately needed. They're still hanging on by a thread, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one maybe just gives you a little bit of stick, a little bit of momentum going into the break, but it was certainly all Dusties in that quarter. They were able to keep away with it. That Peter Garrett, who spoke there in pre-game, being a dangerous mile right forward. All first half goals. He's on track for a team best on ground performance.
4 goals 5 to 2 goals 2 in favour of Warragul that quarter. It is a 41-point margin. And if you had to select one player for Warragul or Kilcunda, who would you say has been the most influential?
I think it is that man, Garrett, with his 4 goals. I've liked Skipper Bruce's work off half-back as well. He seems to be in everything, giving a lot of drive and reliability and just a bit of composure and controlling things from the back half. So I really liked his game. Also liked Will Gibson across half forward for Dusty has been going to one. No, hasn't registered a goal yet, but or maybe one. We're waiting for confirmation half time from that. But yeah, so Will Gibson's going across half forward. Really liked him. Spoken about all the sets he's had. Set up a few goals, and I think the difference though is, as we've spoken about, going inside 50. Warragul just being more inclined to put it to that dangerous hot spot compared to Kilcunda-Bass. Kilcunda-Bass really worked for their goals, whereas it seems to have come a little bit easier for the Dusties.
So Mason McGarity with the 3 goals for Warragul, he's leading the charge. Kyle Beveridge with 2, and then single goals from Michael Devlin, Anthony Brun, Luke Walker, and potentially Will Gibson. A discrepancy on the scoreboard sheet, just waiting for confirmation. And for Kilcunda, we've got Travis Stuckey, Dale Gawley, Dale Crawford, and Marcus Baxter, who just kicked his first after the siren there. We'll see if that can shift the momentum entering the half. But it's 10-7-67 to 4-2-26 on the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard.
community that likes to work hard, digging,
So, do you guys have the scoreboard on the stream on a Superbug or? Yeah. You do? Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure if you wanted a shot of the scoreboard or not.
sport for choice. Good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear.
Yeah, cheers.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I've been renewed. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard. Fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice, and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, claiming your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I've been renewed. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice, and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I've been renewed. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place.
Welcome back to Western Park. First half is over. It's 10-7 Warragul and 4-2 to 26. The leading goal kicker, Mason McGarity, he's kicked 3 for Warragul. Kyle Beveridge with 2, and the rest are single goal scorers. Single goal scorers for Kilcunda. Here with Kyle Pover, our expert. Comments, what have you observed so far?
As we spoke about in that first half, Dylan, I really think that the game's been won out of the middle. It seems that any team who can get the ascendancy and win that centre clearance is able to lock it inside their forward half for a considerable amount of time. And of course, Warragul being the recipients of the majority of those centre clearances. They've also been a little bit more organised in defensively. I think when they're transitioning the ball from half back, as opposed to Kilcunda, it seems to be a lot smoother transition. There was one goal though late in that that second quarter for Kilcunda-Bass, which would have given them a bit of confidence. They were able to get a goal late, and that was purely by moving the ball quickly and almost that Pagan's paddock style of footy where their numbers push up the ground and have a bit of space to run back into. But overall, I think the scoreboard accurately reflects how the game's being played out. Warragul were able to get it on their terms early. A bit of a fight back from Kilcunda, but for the majority of the back end of the first quarter and the first half of that second quarter, I think Warragul was certainly the better side. Really like McGarrity's game, plays almost as that small full forward that we spoke about, not necessarily a crumbing forward. He's also very capable in the air and on the lead as well, so no doubt if they've got any chance of coming back from this 7-goal deficit, I think they're going to have to nullify him moving forward.
Now, just on McGarity, as you bestowed on, he has a contender for the King G Trade Comfort Max Goal of the Day. There's also another contender in there, but we're yet to see a high flyer. That's the Fused by King G Mark of the Day, so we're hoping we do in this second half. Now, around the grounds, we have Coralin 7-10-52 defeating Corumburra 1-4-10. Turin and Dalmore 17-7-109. They're taking it up to Garfield, who are 1-5-11. Turin, of course, they're 5-0 on top of the ladder with a percentage of nearly 304. And Garfield, they're on the bottom 0-5 with a percentage of just under 30. So it is a tough day at the office for Garfield for sure.
Yeah, then we actually one of the camera operators from Red Onion, Harrison Carbis, he's actually the son of their new coach, Garfield, in Paul Carbis. Paul's, again, another very well-respected country footy coach. He's coached at Casey, he's coached at Coburg, he's took the Leongatha Parrots to a couple of premierships, so he knew what he was in for when taking the Garfield role. I think he knew they were in a bit of a rebuild and transition period. So I've got no doubt that this year was more about just getting games into some young players because they are a very young side and just trying to teach the basic fundamentals of a game plan. And I'm sure next season we'll see some of those come to fruition.
Now, a major surprise and potentially a big upset brewing out at Cooey Rupp. Cooey Rupp, who are 2-3 on the season. They're 3-6-24. And Phillip Island, who are 5-0, are 4-6-30 at halftime. So a 6-point deficit. Could we see Phillip Island taking their first loss of the year?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we did the Cooey Rupp versus Bunyip game a few weeks ago, and I think they ended up getting blown out of the water, Cooey Rupp. But for the first half, they were really competitive, and I think same as last week, they managed to get over the line. Just was it against Kilcunda-Bass, but just a little bit wasteful going inside 50. But they certainly have a number of good players. Their midfield in particular is very strong, and lots of in and under players as well. So no doubt a day like today would probably be suiting them a bit better. So if they can take a scalp and beat Phillip Island and go 3-3 to even the ledger, it'll give them a bit of confidence as we start to get into the back end of, the middle of the footy season.
So Warragul have just re-entered the arena, warming up, as you can see on the wing. Kilcunda yet to arrive, but they will soon, and I assume they'd have some talk. They'd have a new game plan. They're 41 points down at the half. And if they were to rectify anything in particular, what would it be?
I think it's making sure that Warragul aren't able to get those easy shots, which I think they did towards the back end of that second half. They were forcing Warragul a little bit wider and just protecting that corridor. But I think for the majority of this game, they've just allowed Warragul to score too easily by bringing the ball back into those dangerous spots in the corridor. So if they can shut off the corridor and force them wide and be able to play that slingshot style of footy that they were able to do in the back end of that second quarter, they might just fancy themselves with a sneaky chance. But I think one thing's for sure, I don't think they're clearly going to be able to chip away at this 7-goal deficit this quarter, but if they can get within, say, 3 or 4 goals going into three-quarter time, you just never know. So I think that'll be the instruction, is just try and win the quarter, win it by 2 or 3 goals. get yourselves in that sort of 3, 4, even potentially 5 goal margin, and try and put sail to the wind in the last quarter and back themselves to get over the line.
Some treacherous winds and clouds imposing themselves up ahead. You can see them moving from right to left. All the sun seems to be fading, so we might have a wet second half. And for Kilcunda, that means that they'll have to attack early.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Waitman spend a bit more time up on the ball, just to give them a little bit of spark. Predominantly been playing across half forward this afternoon, but haven't seen the ball get down there as often as he'd like to be able to create much spark. So maybe if he can start in the midfield, which looks like they're running straight out into positions, and it looks like that's exactly what he'll be doing. So I don't mind that move from Kilcunda-Bass. Get him in there, get him in amongst it, and hopefully he can spark his team for a second half comeback.
Yep, so Riley Skipin, the closest to fullback for Kilcunda, and he's joined alongside Thomas West. Daniel Mock is also in the mix, and Anthony Dario alongside Darcy Clay. So they'll all line up, and there seems to be nearly 7 forwards. Oh no, there is 6 forwards. Obviously, 6-6-6 rule implemented.
I think it is. I believe it is in country footy. I know some leagues play it. I'd say it is, because I reckon there's a fair chance that they'd be going with the spare man potentially.
Certainly opened the game up more.
Absolutely, and it just speaks volumes about how critical a centre clearance is now, because if you're able to get it forward, you've got even numbers to begin with. So, I think it's been great for the game.
About to resume play, and it will be Mockett and Goalie in a tangle. It's knocked down in the region of foot, but almost escaping out of there was Makari again to the wing. Head first, McKenzie. He went hard at it, absorbed plenty of pressure, and he still looks to be a little stunned. And the ball up as it's locked away, just near centre half forward. For the Dusties again. This time knocked down by Hefford. They swing it around, and casually now running towards half forward. That is perfect for McGarity again. He's already kicked 3 and can potentially add a 4th.
He didn't even really have to lead there. He just knew that he backed his skipper to put it to the hot spot of the goals, and you kick it there and I'll make sure I'm there, Skip, seems to be the attitude, because, yeah, it's perfect forward craft there.
4 goals would be his second highest tally of the year, and he's just missed that to the left. That was probably, if not his easiest kick of the day.
Yeah, a bit of a let-off there.
Yeah. So Sorozinski just flushes it out of there. And at the front of the pack, waiting with the midfielders for Kilcunda, but that time it's Foot. Leading kick out to the wing. James Phillips clutches the football. He'll play on. Being pressed by Beck. Released the kick in time. Out the back was Baxter. He wasn't quick enough to hunt it down, and we'll have a throw in. So the first score on the board for Warragul. If you just missed it, that was Mason McGarity. He's already kicked 3. Just his first behind of the day. Now, not really a plan in mind except a hope. And falling in the back of West was the Kilcunda defence. They edge it forward and now progress again, do the Dusties. Marks taken by Beveridge. In fact, it's not. It just spilt out at the last moment. They'll fight for it again. Eddie, the hand pass. They chain up on the wing. And again, linking up is Gibson with Oldham, and Oldham across, and now strolling towards centre half forward. One bounce into the hands of Brun. They're laying all over the top of him. Falls to Mockett on the left. It'll trickle along the ground. Through for a minor score.
He's quite agile for a big fella, is Mockett. He's had a couple of follow-ups at ground level.
So 43-point lead for the Dusties. Sorozinski again. Bring back the barrel. Plenty of territory gained in that. It'll bounce out the back. Running onto it is Goalie, usually the ruckman, so probably unfamiliar space for him. Kicking off the ground, Gorsuch. Now, if this was the AFL, we'd probably say insufficient intent, but it won't be.
No, you very rarely see it paid at country level, and gee, that's where I think they can be dangerous. The Kilcunda-Bass side is when they're looking to move the ball in that real slingshot style footy.
So again, it's Foot and also Cartmel. Hands to it. They work it out the back, just rinsed away. And only momentarily. Dale Gooley again. Now he kicked a goal in a similar position from here, and he winds up on the left, and he's hooked that out on the full. Just blazing away at goal there.
And this is where if they're to have any chance of chipping away at this lead, I think now that they've got it locked inside, deep inside forward 50, try not to let it get an easy transition out of defence for the Dusty side.
Sam Russell will have to go and retrieve the football over the fence. It's one aspect you love of country footy.
Yep, happens almost on the weekly regular. Player's got to jump over and get it himself.
We had a dog on the field last week.
Yes.
It's all happening. Here at Western Park, and they'll just flirt with danger here, and the mark is paid for Darcy Clay. The umpire, in fact, he'll say it's a ball up. So unsure of what happened there.
A little bit too early there.
Yep. So Goalie again feeds it off for Phillips, who did the team thing and did it very well. Perfect execution, and the mark is taken by Marcus Baxter.
He did well there, Baxter. Held the front position, didn't have much separation on his defender, but just able to hold out with brute strength. So fair to say they need this one, I think.
For sure, and if he kicks this, it will nullify the first goal of the quarter from Warragul. 30 metres out, Marcus Baxter. Such an important, prolific goal kicker for Kilcunda. And he does it once again. It's 10-9 to 5-2, a 37-point lead for Warragul on the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard.
Yeah, fair to say they needed that one, and I think that would have been the instruction. Just get the first one of the third quarter, and we'll see where we go from there. So back to 6 goals and just keep chipping away at it. If they can get within that 3 or 4 goal market at three-quarter time, you never know.
Exactly right, and now's the time they're not being harassed by severe winds. I did mention it at halftime, but it's just holding up as I'm looking overhead. Motd climbed the ladder, paddled it down, and they'll all track it down. Walker, he does find some space out the back, had the luxury of time as well. Motd again. And Gorsuch fell to ground, and it's holding the ball.
Yeah, I didn't mind. It was either holding the ball or it was going to be in the back,
Yeah.
but he certainly had prior opportunity. Now that he's tried to get himself a good 5 metres there, Gorsuch.
So this is Beck of the Bailey variety. From 40 metres, has a fair bit of purchase on that Brun. He couldn't drag it down. And Goalie will look for insurance out the back, but he didn't have the foot in his hands.
He was just going to sit at the back and pluck it there, but spoiled by his own teammate in the end.
So a ball up, 15 metres out from the Dusties' goal. And here's McGarity breaking the shackles and removing them. And again, here's Dario. And he was in a tackle with Debenham. It'll be Warragul's free kick. This time it is Michael Debenham. Tough angle. Challenging kick. Not beyond him. McGarity certainly loitering in the square. Debenham It might fall in his direction, but here he is roving again. Braun. He looks to be the advocate for another goal, and it's kicked out on the full. Umpire obviously had an obscured view, and it's a ball up. Similar position, opposite side, 15 metres out.
They got away with
the Dusty's
one
goal.
there. The Kilcunda-Bass defenders. I thought it was on the full myself.
Yeah. So Motd again to the advantage of the opponent, really, Dario. And he'll try to straddle the line. Riley Skipin. .37 points behind a Kilcunda. It's deep inside their opposition's forward 50. Again, it's Goalie. And it's just hacked out of there. Mark can't be taken off the ball. Waitman, he'll look to insert himself and put his imprint on the game. And probably needs to.
Yeah, he's been a bit quiet this afternoon. He's been well held. But don't mind the move of getting him up around the footy.
Yep, so Kane Oldham is matching up with him as Goalie just takes that out the ruck. Dispossessed. Umpire says play on. Waitman again clambering out of there. But didn't have the wingspan to reach it.
Definitely blindsided there, the umpire, because that was holding the ball every day of the week, but didn't see the throw coming out.
Nice throw in. Motd with brute body use. Kick out of there, smothered, and Motd again. Play on, says the umpire, and bursting through with the forwards. Again, it's a torpedo, so they really do love to send a torpedo along, but it'll come back. Bailey Beck again. On the right, a nice shepherd from his teammates. He puts it to the hot spot. Rising was Dario. Mark not taken. It was Todd Beck who was trying to make his claim. And we'll have another throw up about 20, 25 metres out from goal.
Good call by the umpire there, I think. I reckon that came off a couple of set of hands, so right call.
Here's Brun. Just loping after it. He bends it too far, and it's out on the full. And Dale Crawford in the back pocket.
You feel like they're just holding on at the minute. Kilcunda-Bass, they're getting peppered again, but they're not being heard on the scoreboard. So
Crawford just looping hand pass over the top for Eddie, who delivers long down the line. Obviously, the umpire didn't see that again. It was a fist over the top. Eddie would be camped underneath this and comfortably takes the mark.
it was a good mark, and it just shows how difficult the conditions are. That's probably nearly our mark of the day, fused by King G. That mark there from Eddie.
Courage personified, really.
Exactly.
He was blindsided by a few.
We haven't had too many big marks, so that's probably a leading contender at the minute.
So Motd again. And now they'll have another forward entry. They work it by hand, and they'll try to construct something out of here. Will Kilcunda. Goalie, Waitman maybe in his path. And now it's Skipin, and just avoids them all. And Cartmel was quite content to see that roll out of bounds.
Yeah, I think they'll take that. But as I said, they're getting peppered at the minute, the Kilcunda-Bass defenders, but they've done well just to nullify, particularly on the scoreboard at the minute.
So Motd was in the radius of Walker, and there's a free kick. It will go Jackson Mocket's way. Advantage is taken. Now that is one hell of a kick, and that would have been, for sure, undoubtedly, the King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day, but it's just hit the top post.
And I've looked at Mockett, and he gave his teammate a dirty look there for saying, I had the kick. Why did you take the advantage from wrong side for a left footer?
And I have a feeling, even if he did kick the goal, that Mockett would potentially be giving him that look as well.
If you're going to take the advantage and kick the goal, all is well, but you miss, and that's the risk you take.
Did look ravenous for a goal, did Jackson Mockett, who's kicked 5 this year through 5 games. Obviously, game 6 here, and he was looking to keep that 1 goal average up. Got a ball up on the far side at the wing. Goalie nudged out of it, and he'll be the recipient of this free kick. Nearly 13 minutes gone in the third quarter. They need to get something on the scoreboard. A fair lead from Baxter. It'll just spill out the back. The Warragul defenders were ready. They had plenty of cavalry. Again, 2 of them going for the footy, and that's just been the story all day. And a minor slip, and it'll go out of bounds. We have seen that all day, haven't we? We've seen multiple Warragul players going to garner the footy as opposed to just the one for Kilcunda.
Yeah, they have had numbers around the footy for most of the day. I might even take a look. They're potentially playing that spare up around the footy coming up from half forwards, so we'll keep an eye on that one.
So we just wait the umpire's decision. It will be another ball up. It's fed out of there. Along the wing, let's see if they can be slightly adventurous again. The Dusties hugged up against the flank, and it goes out for another throw-in. So we'll definitely keep an eye on around the grounds if Kui Rupp can upset Phillip Island. But in the meantime, 38-point margin stands for the Dusties. Centre wing, slapped forward by Gawley. It's a high free kick going the Dusties' way. And now they'll play on, pedalling forward. Might receive the 1-2 from Beck. No, he didn't. And they'll just work it around this back line nicely. That's a precise kick for Brewster. Brewster long to Todd Beck at half forward. They're diving for it on their hands and knees now. It's Nathan Foote. Does well, picks that up. Just a pushing hand pass across for Grannis. And Grannis across again for Eddie. Eddie, he'll fight. Mackenzie off to Foote again, who was disrupted in the moments. Still goes forward. And 2 numbers again for Warragul. This time speeding out of there at centre half back. Their defenders hand pass across for Beck again. But they venture forward this time, Kilcunda through Eddie. And as I said, there's plenty of soldiers for Warragul. That time it was Staples, and Staples to Russell, and Russell now has Oldham at right half back. They congregate at the wing again, but this time Gawley stands tall, engineers a mark, plays on, off his line, gives it plenty. Perfect kick. Now they'll play on quickly. That was an entry by Cartmel. Stays alive for them. Here's Mackenzie. Back into the hands of Foote. Restless ball forward. Broken up in the air. A snap out the pack. Almost spontaneously. At full forward now. It's just clattering around. They'll finally have a shot at goal. And it was touched, or was it? They'll quickly communicate, and they've said it was touched right on the goal line.
Gee, I thought for a sec, it looked like he was going to pay a goal. Might have been the field umpire who stepped in and said, no, I think he was in front of the line there.
Well, that is impressive defence. Not quite sure who it was, but monumental effort. Here's Brewster again, their captain. Hand passed into the path of their speedy defender, and now Brun can take the mark. Let up full chest. They'll move it forward again, Warragul. That kick, well, it was slightly deceiving for McGarity, but it didn't matter because Todd Beck's taken the mark. Now McGarity will present and collect this footy 25 metres out.
And again, didn't even point, just knew where he had to lead to, and his teammate did the rest and just put it there. And you can't teach that. That is taught. That's simply lots of training, lots of team meetings to make sure that we're honouring the leading forward, going towards that hot spot.
Missed one from here earlier, but he's had a chance to analyse it, and he fixes it with a goal. He's kicked for Mason McGarity. 11-10, 76 to 5-3, 33. On the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. Fairhaven Homes match of the round, supported by Totally Workwear, Gippsland Stores, a new store open in Pakenham, stores in Traralgon, Warragul and Wonthaggi. It's a 43-point lead for the Dusties.
And you feel like that might have been nearly the ceiling goal. They were pressing there, Kilcunda-Bass, and the old 12-point play. They kick a goal and it's back within 5 goals, and they have one kicked against them and it's back out beyond that 7-goal margin.
So Gooley again, and they'll exit again. Look at that. That is a roost forward. McGarity parked underneath this one as well. 40 metres out, and he looked to see which option was the most viable, and in the end it was Will Gibson.
He's been a bit quieter this quarter, Gibson, but this might be the reward for his first half efforts, where he's able to set up a couple and certainly played his part with his relentless pressure and 1%ers inside the forward half. So hopefully he can put this through for his sake.
This will be for their biggest margin of the day, and they can do no wrong. A 49-point lead. And if you're the Kilcunda coaching staff, you have to be incensed. They've had their opportunities.
Yeah, they have, particularly this early in this third quarter, but it sort of seems to be the story of the day. They've been able to hold with them early in quarters, but the longer the quarter's gone on, some of the class of the Warragul players, they've just been able to nullify and put them to bed late in the quarter, as they are doing here now.
Gooley v Motd again. Motd had an acquaintance. That ball just falls short of Motd. In fact, it was a different ruckman. And McGarity is lurking, but Motd's hand pass a little errant, but they'll get there. The numbers multiply around the footy, and Waitman offers support to Dario, who laid a strong tackle. Good body use from Motd. And hunting after the footy again. He's been doing it all day, as Jackson Motd yet to see a goal to his name. And he's very deserving of one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mock.
Loved his follow-up work as well for a big fella.
So Motd lays the tackle on Mock, not to be confused. And this time, Gooley, hand pass, Waitman on the left. Just clattering it out of there to the wing. Debenham, hand pass back in order to go forward. The two work together to their own advantage. Gibson, and well, here's Kilcunda's chance. It's Phillips out of there, just dispatching towards the wing and over the head of Leighton Cartmel. So 21 minutes into the third quarter. And this time presenting up high was Hefford. And now a chance. Here's Stuckey. Long ball forward. Couldn't bounce right for Baxter, but he still has an opportunity. There's a window there for Foot as well. But in the end, the Warragul defence is too strong and too poised. Will Gibson. Through the middle of the ground they go. Brun, he's done that multiple times today. Couldn't grab that one. They'll have to shuffle the hand passes off. Kick, the framework is set up for McGarity. Now Sorozinski's been a great defender all the day, but he might not be enough for McGarity, who has just missed to the far side. But that would have been something, Kyle.
Yeah, that would have been our fused by King G. In fact, no, sorry, that's our mark of the day. Our King G Comfort Max goal of the day for sure. Just shows that you, as a defender, as soon as you go to ground, you're just putting yourself out of that contest. So keeping your feet is vital.
So Sorozinski showed strong faith in Dario down towards the interchange benches, and almost running into his teammates there at full steam was Gorsuch. Nearly head first through the interchange bench there.
50-point margin now. It doesn't feel like a 50-point
No,
game, though. It,
no.
it really doesn't. It sort of feels like they're only 3 or 4 goals down the Kilcunda-Bass side. And even just then, though, you can see what they're trying to do when they go inside 50. They're trying to keep it as open as possible and give space to the man in Marcus Baxter. But just, yeah, I'm not sure that style of footy works on a day like today. You know, numbers around the footy and forcing stoppages and locking the ball inside 50 might be the way to go, because although they are able to get it in there with quick transition, it's coming out pretty quickly as well.
So Gorsuch lays a tackle, but it didn't matter, or maybe it did. Great pressure applied, and it's called holding the ball. So he was restrained. He might have had a hand pass, but the umpire gave Ashton Grennis the benefit of the doubt. And that's a spear. Perfect kick. And will he have a shot here, do you think, Ethan Watts?
He looks like he's signalling that he's going to go back. So now, one thing I do have a pet hate with is if he's got the distance, great, but if he kicks it and it just falls short, then I think you need to know as a player your distance, and if you know you can't make the distance, you've got to put it about 10 metres out from the goal square, because it's an easy kill for the defenders otherwise.
So Ethan Watts will watch. It missed to the right. So he definitely had the distance
in
in
him.
him.
Distance covered well and truly, just the accuracy.
Yeah, just a little inaccurate there. 5-4, 34 to 12-11, 83, nearly 24 and a half minutes passed on our totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. So they're able to communicate here. Warragul midfielders had to, not an accommodating bounce there for Gibson, and sliding in to make his presence felt, but potentially to his own detriment, and it was. It was Gorsuch and Visser. He'll play on to left half forward. Great use of the body, or maybe just interpretation by Braun, who saw McGarity. Who else would it be on the end of it?
Love that there from Bruin. He saw that McGarity just had a couple of metres goal side on his opponent and was able just to get it in quickly to him and kick it to his advantage side. And I'm going to back him from here. It should be a pretty relatively easy kick, just kicking around the corner.
Mason McGarity plays on, snaps, and misses.
It's hooked it too far. Would that have been his 5th goal? Or
It would have been his 5th.
So his cause 4-4, I reckon he might have kicked. So he's had his opportunities this afternoon.
Sorozinski has a fair boot on him. Just needed his players to oblige. Waitman constrained and engulfed by the tackle immediately.
I thought he might have been tackled high there.
Yep.
He's been well held today, Waitman.
He
Just
has.
can't quite get into the game.
So Mockett with the fist. And there'll be a couple of Warragul players surrounding this one. Debenham off to a teammate. Launches it forward, a 2-on-1. He'll play on, stroll into the open goal, and it was smothered, but it didn't matter. He went with the second effort. It was great defence and a great attempt. But in the end, Kyle Beveridge kicks his 3rd.
Yeah, liked his game as well. Like the follow-up there. You're pretty stiff if you're the Kilcunda-Bass defender there. Thought he did enough with the original smother, but as the footy gods would go, it spilled straight back out to that man in Kyle Beveridge, and liked his game, and that's probably his 2nd contender for the King G Comfort Max goal of the day.
That's unlucky by the defence. He did
He did everything in
he
his
possibly
power
could've.
to stop that, but unfortunately, nothing you can do about that.
So the ball thrown up again. Goalie beaten by his opponent there. And now they're streaming forward. McGarity, he will take the mark. It was definitely missing. And if that was going through for a goal, we would be discussing it definitely.
I'll tell you one thing. McGarity, the way he reads the ball off the boot, that's what his biggest asset, I think. He's able to read the ball quicker than any other player.
Mason McGarity with number 5, and he's not done yet. There's still a quarter to play. We're late into the 3rd. 27 and a half minutes has gone by. 14-12, 96 to 5-4, 34 on the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. I think if we were to stop the game now, he'd be just about the best player on the ground. Kicked 5. I think he's kicked 5-4. Definitely 5-3. He's set up a couple as well. So no doubt he's been the difference this afternoon. And as I said, I just love the way he's able to read the ball off the boot. He knows where his teammates are going to put it as well, which is what I was trying to say before. You can't teach that in the sense of knowing where to be at the right spot. So he's got the perfect footy brain to go with his great skills.
Eddie flicked that forward. Waitman pokes a fist in there. And now Cartmill should be first to it. There's a couple of others there. Maybe illegal use of the hands. Umpire says play on. It was heavily patrolled. Baxter picks it up. Kicks towards goal. And just misses to the far side.
He's been great today, Baxter. He's done everything he can up forward.
Yep. Thorough ball from fullback to Oldham and then into the hands again of the defender. Here's Beveridge, already kicked 3, had a teammate loose in the midfield, obviously didn't see him. It'll just lie in dispute. Finally makes its way out. Let's see if their plans can come to fruition. Warragul, they all lie all over it, and there's the siren. Well, it's 14-12 to 5-4. And Warragul have just completely asserted their dominance. McGarity leading the charge with 5, Kyle Beveridge with 3, and plenty of other forwards adding to the tally. Let's see how Kilcunda can reply in the fourth quarter. Kyle, any last words?
No, look, I think early parts of that quarter, they were able to just hold on and hang in there, and they had their opportunities to get within 5 goals. As footy would go, though, the Dusties are able to transition the ball from one end and kick a goal and put it back beyond that 7-goal margin halfway through that quarter, and I think that was almost the nail in the coffin. I think it sort of put a sour note to the Kilcunda-Bass side, and yeah, now I can't see them getting back into this game, unfortunately.
So we'll take a quick break. It's Warragul by 62 points in the Fairhaven Homes Match of the Round, supported by Totally Workwear Gippsland stores.
Place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
a community. A community that likes to work hard. Digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard. Digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me.
Well, Warragul are up by 61 points at three-quarter time, and they should be continuing their tremendous form. They've already won 2 on the trot, and it looks like they'll add a third. But they have certainly unveiled Mason McGarity again, who just has an aptitude for goals. He's kicked 5 today, and he's been too strong for Kilcunda.
He has. He's created an awkward matchup as well. Because I think you put someone small on him and he's probably got them covered aerially, but then when the ball hits the deck, evens it out, but then you put a bigger player on him to try and nullify his influence in the air, and he just dominates at ground level. So he's a tricky matchup. No doubt, I think he's probably the best player on the ground to date. I think he's had at least 8, potentially 9 shots on goal. So yeah, he's certainly, in my opinion, the standout player on the ground, and let's see how many he can finish off with in the last quarter. I think Marcus Baxter at the other end, he's competed hard. I think he's kicked the 2 goals, presented really well, lack of opportunities as well. I'd love to see the inside 50 stats because they haven't had too much of it, and when it gets in there, they're just able to move the ball with relative ease coming out of defence. The Warragul side.
Fourth quarter nearly underway. And for Kilcunda, they'll just look to stem the flow of goals. We'll see what they can do, but there's the ball up. Falls to ground again, and Eddie, chaotic ball forward. How will it bounce? Waitman now in the vicinity. He falls to ground, and his opponent will just track it down. Still is alive. Ball is there to be won, and they'll keep fighting Kilcunda, but it's out of bounds. So if you take Mason McGarity's 7-goal effort a couple of weeks ago and the 5 today, that's already 12 of his 19 goals to date. So he certainly knows how to be the X factor.
And I think it shows if you're versing Warragul, if you put a bit of time and effort into him, you're a chance of winning the game. So I've got no doubt that moving forward, clubs will take note and have a look at these performances and see what he does well. And I think that, as I keep banging on about, I think the way he's able to read the play and his natural footy brain, I think that's why he's so dangerous and creates such a tough matchup.
Party at half forward, and they are able to gather it under their control. Visser didn't know where to go, and in the end, it's a great kick. Mark was nearly taken by Beck. Precarious handball. Walker out of there now to Beck, and Beck quickly looked forward, and now they'll regress. And awesome elusive footwork. Did well to get rid of it. There's Beck. That's the Todd variety. And there's his brother Bailey. And now back for DeSando. DeSando couldn't get a lot on it. Jolly. A kick deflects into the hands of Kilcunda. Back towards the wing again. Here's Oldham. He'll keep tabs on his opponent in Crawford. Again, navigating through traffic. Taken high almost. Play on's the call. Walker with a searching kick around the outer side. And now they'll bomb it long, right to full forward. An open man was assembled under it, and it's a free kick. The mark was nearly paid anyway, so we'll count it.
Now, is that McGarity? Because if it is, I want to know why he's able to have so much time and space on his own inside 50, considering how dangerous he's been. And
Certainly is Mason McGarity.
You'd be really disappointed if you're the Kilcunda-Bass coaching staff, because he's clearly the focal point up forward and their most dangerous forward. And you just can't allow time and space like that.
Sometimes you just have to sit back and admire players like Mason McGarity. He's kicked 6. He is irrepressible at the moment, and this game is quickly becoming a blowout.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's disappointing from Kilcunda-Bass perspective. They were really giving it a red-hot crack, and certainly in the contest until halfway through that third quarter, and Warragul are just starting to flex their muscles a little bit. I hope that doesn't become a blowout, because it probably deserves to be a little bit closer than what it has been.
Yep.
That said, though, 27 scoring shots to 10, so Warragul have no doubt had their opportunities to be further in front as well.
And they certainly have been gallant, Kilcunda. A 67-point margin, as you said, doesn't reflect how they've played, as they're able to work it out of there, but interception and a kick towards half forward. Plenty of players looking for it. A tackle there by Cartmel. Still alive, and finally over the line. Luke Walker that time. Goalie again. That's a great slap forward, but on the end of it for Warragul defenders everywhere. Brewster, the captain. He'll have to deliver to a teammate. Nice spoil. Second efforts continue to amount. Watch out behind you. He did. And now it's Beck into the pocket. And getting out of there, Dario. Hand pass back. He has insurance, but only momentarily. Foot's hand pass. Was quickly cut off by hand, and we'll have another throw in about 35 metres out from Warragul's goal. Just keeping an eye on Mason McGarity. Seems to be at full forward, but finally someone's planted on him. That's Daniel Mock. So a tough task. He's been assigned to him. Just perched below the football with the dusty midfielders again. And they retreat to centre half forward, but it might be beneficial. The mark was pulled down by Brewster again.
He's probably nearly been their second best player today. Brewster really liked his game.
Yep, distributing forward, and now just waiting for this to fall out is Beck. And pass probably not the most conventional, because they were still danger infused, and now they can enter again. Visser right to the teeth of goal. It goes long, and It's through for a minor score, or is it?
I think it's actually, he's paid the mark.
He's
I think.
paid the mark.
It's that man,
And he
Motd.
quickly plays on, and Motd gets the goal that he's been searching for and so desperately wanting all day, and he deserved it too.
Yeah, great little clunk there at the back. Contender for our Fused by King G mark of the day. Might make mention as well for our, just to give our injury update partners a go, the NT uniforms, healthcare by Totally Workwear, haven't really had too many injuries to report on today, which is always a good sign. But yeah, big shout out to NT uniforms, who are great supporters of the broadcast, and of course proudly brought to you by the Totally Workwear Gippsland stores.
So Hefford and Gooley to combat in the air once again. Hefford had the jump that time, and that's a double hand volleyball style tap. Now here's the forward line again. It's Beck, sweeping hand pass across, and it'll be in the vicinity of a couple of unsolicited Kilcunda players. And here's Sorozinski rather. They all are buried into the turf and will have a ball up. 73-point margin, Kyle.
Yeah, they've certainly blown them out of the water in this last quarter and a bit.
So maybe multiple ruckmen there for Warragul. Hefford, he just waits patiently for it to fall out, and it didn't.
I've actually noticed Mockett's probably spent more time up forward than he has in the ruck today, and it seems that Hefford's been predominantly playing as the number one ruckman.
So Phillips breaking himself free, and now Mackenzie, hand pass. He went back in order to go forward, foot along the wing, and Dale Crawford, did he stay in play? He did not.
Thought it could have been a potential pushing free kick there.
Yeah. So McGillivray down the other end. Oh, there's a big, heavy collision. And, well, we hope we don't have our first injury of the day.
I might have put the Mozza on there, because that was he's getting up. That was a big, brave hit.
That is. And he looks to be pulling up sore. That's Nathan Foote.
He is up. He's hobbling a bit, but he is trying to run it off. So maybe just a stinger.
And he's been productive all day for sure.
He's been one of their better players, that's for sure.
So DeSando to the wing. Made easy work of it, did Will Jolly. It was a difficult mark to judge, but simple task for him. Now here's Mockt again. Up forward as our expert comment Kyle mentioned. So a throw in at right half forward. The lights have been turned on. It's that time of the day. 8 minutes, nearly 9. Gone in the last quarter. It's Warragul by 73 points on our Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. Just telegraphing the hand pass for Beck, who drives it long and wide. And mocked it enough to affect it and spoil it out of play. They'll do the throw in again here. So where is McGarity? He'll be waiting somewhere to pounce. In the meantime, the goal has been kicked. It has been. Add another to the scoreboard for Warragul. I believe that was Beveridge, but my eyes may deceive me.
I think it was. It seems like that's who they were getting around. Did kick on the right foot, though, with him being a left footer. But I'm going to give it to Beveridge, who's been very good as well, cross half forward.
$79 points stands the margin. And as we wait for the throw in, we'll just go across and around the grounds. Phillip Island are up by 4 goals now after leading it by just the one straight kick at halftime. So Hefford received the free kick. Advantage was taken, and it was definitely a fruitful one. Braun, and that kick is chopped off. Plenty of team representation there for Kilcunda. Same position, just the opposite side for William Speed. Speed on the left. It just stays in play, and now at the bottom of it was Travis Stuckey. And another throw in.
Just having a look at Foot here, who's moved forward with after that knock, and he's struggling a bit. He's sort of he's trying to keep moving, but I think it might have just been a big corky to that thigh.
So at the moment, Kilcunda are positioned at the wing, but not for long. Big spoil from behind by Ablett. Such a household name. They all spill down and fall like bowling pins. And the umpire calls for a ball up. So looking ahead to next week, Kilcunda, they'll play Coralline, who are 0-5 and 0-6 after today. So that can be their game to bounce back as Dario for Kilcunda gives it off for Eddie. Eddie, a penetrating ball, and Baxter quickly plays on, and the kick fell short, was a stray of Stuckey. Marks taken. Need to be disciplined here. That is a disciplined kick. Bailey Beck. He'll do the old 1-2 manoeuvre. Time just evaporates on the clock. And now it's centre half back. It is Staples, and they have done this wondrously. Walker on the wing on an extended stroll through to Beck, who stands tall, maybe emphasised the fall and looking for a 50. He sets that up to the hot spot. Brun slung around. Guess who it is? McGarity kicks his 6th.
Maybe 7th.
Maybe 7th. 7 of the best.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll go with 7. I reckon he's kicked that. That's his 7th. He had 5 at three-quarter time. So, yep, that's his 2nd for this final term. Just having a look at our schedule for next week, and gee, what a mouthwatering clash this seems to be. Tooradin Dalmore versus Inverloch Kongwak. So really looking forward to that game next week. A little bit closer for you and I as well, Dylan, coming from Berwick.
Yep. Well, Mason McGarity is just breathtaking today. 7 goals, and he's matched his season high, and there's still plenty of room for an 8th.
Can he get 10?
Could he get 10? We'll hope not for Kilcunda's sake, as Gawley, head of, I believe it's Phillips who was taken high, it is, and he gives it off quickly, and Eddie will expeditiously move it on, and that's a great hand pass from Baxter. A flying shot at goal has hit the post, and that seems to typify their performance.
Yeah.
Or not their performance, but really just their entries inside 50.
They've been few and far between their entries inside 50, but he does look dangerous as Baxter when they get it in his hands.
Piercing through a Kilcunda again. Here's Mackenzie. Free kicks identified. Commodore. Using Brewster as a reference. Through the middle of the oval they go. To centre half forward. That's picked up nicely, and goalie opponents just seem to dissolve around him. No one even bothered to corral him as Crawford. In fact, it's Gorsuch just lying in the back of the opponent, and that is a free kick for sure. Beck quickly plays on. Off to Walker. He's the avenue in at the moment, and so is Brewster. Now, where is McGarity? It won't be McGarity, but it will be.
So Braun, I think it is.
Yep. Anthony Braun.
What's he kicked? Is it? I think he's kicked 2 this afternoon, so he'll be going back for his 3rd. Liked his game, cross half forward. He's another one who's presented hard all game and just provide that extra long option.
The brawny man, Brun, kicks his third. It's a 90-point margin.
Really blown
At
out in
Western
this second
Park.
half now.
Yep.
Certainly didn't think it was going to be a 100-point margin coming into the game, but there's still plenty of time.
19-12. Sorry, cut you off there.
No, you're right.
19-12 to 5-6 reads the totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. Plenty of goals to choose from. We've had 24 goals in total. And if you had to select one as the King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day, Kyle.
I think it's still with Kyle Beveridge.
Yep.
From that goal, that roving goal off the pack in the second term. Marks, the only one I can think of is Eddie going back with the flight from Kilcunda-Bass, I think early in that third quarter. To be honest, it's just been one of those days where it's wet and greasy, so not a high flyers day, to be honest. So, but we've still got about 15 minutes remaining in this final quarter, so we might see something special to finish off with. Let's finish off with a hanger.
Yeah, plenty of time on. Already been about 6 goals kicked in this last quarter, and maybe another as Visser to fall forward. McGarity, here he is. He picks up, he kicks, and he's kicked 8. Another to the scoreboard, and this is out of hand now. Mason McGarity.
He's on track for 10 now. He's got plenty of time now. He's got about 12, 13 minutes to kick 2 goals. So can he kick the double digits?
Take a bow. He's exhibited his supremacy. A 138-point win a couple of weeks ago. It's at 96 now. And if I had to estimate, I'd say there's still about 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah, there's been plenty of goals kicked in this final quarter, so it could be a 30-minute quarter at least.
And again, that time Gorsuch preventing any Warragul player from escaping, but they do out the back. It's DeSando to right half forward, maybe a little ahead of that. And now Beck sliding to ground. Had a teammate for support. It's Debenham. He just hoists it to full forward. It's juggled. It's unpaid mark. There's a free kick being pointed out.
Yeah, I think it's a ball up. I think he's
it's a ball
balling
up.
it up.
Ball up. Fizzles out to the Kilcunda defenders. And they can attempt to weave something here forward, a one-on-one on the wing. And, well, if we were handing out the golden fist, that would definitely be a contender.
Yep, absolutely. Just cut off from our screen, though, unfortunately. That one.
So that was Michael Ablett with the fist, and he was one of their best players last week, as we mentioned, and now a rare opportunity in this last quarter for Kilcunda. But there's plenty of defenders and a host of team defenders, really, for Warragul. It's Luke Walker on the left. Eddie did enough to spoil it, but he'll have to retrieve it by himself because there were no Kilcunda players. And again, look at them just rapidly moving forward. A flock of players for Warragul. The 1-2, that time it was Staples to Beveridge, who's already kicked 4, and now it's Brewster, the captain. We'd love a captain's goal. And he looked to see which was the most feasible, but he took it upon himself and missed to the near side. So it's a 97-point lead, and they'd just love to escape the jaws of a 100-point deficit here, Kilcunda.
Yeah, I think that'll be the
benchmark.
the goal now for Kilcunda is make sure they keep it under that 100-point margin. There's something about that 100-point psychologically, I think, Dylan, is if you can just get that 100-point versus a 90-point, it makes a world of difference, I think.
So if you are Kilcunda, you'll regroup, you'll review the game, and next week, what can they do? Obviously, they're playing Coralin, so it's definitely a winnable game.
Look, Coralina are a good side as well. I mean, they played off in the grand final and nearly pinched it a couple of years ago. That said, I think it's they probably just need to get the ball inside 50 a little bit more. You can see what they're trying to do from a slingshot style of footy, but which is fantastic if you're going to play that style of footy. But to do that, you really do need to be getting the ball in there a little bit more frequently. And when it does get in there, you need to make sure you lock it in there because it's just come out too easily today, I think.
Yeah. So speed, kicked it to a defender, and now there's repercussions sparking everywhere. Beautiful delivery from Staples, and I'm not even going to mention who it is. You can take a guess.
It's that man going for number 9. We're on McGarity watch in this last quarter.
McGarity watch. We've got the scope on him. Positioned about 35 metres out. He's kicked 8 so far. The rain starts to crawl down for number 9 on the day.
He's kicked it.
Look at him go!
In fact, you know what? That might have been his 10th because they are coming from everywhere. They are getting around him. Have we missed?
We will keep a close watch on it, but unequivocally, the best player of the game today, Mason McGarity's previous season high was a couple of weeks ago with 7, and now
I reckon that was his 10th.
We'll say 10?
I'm going to go with it because it's a little bit odd that you would get around him like that for number 9. So, well, let's have a look and see because if he kicks one more and he
it's inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah, well, if he kicks one more and the celebrations are a little dour, then we'll say he's already kicked the 10.
So this time Brewster was barging through and taken high, potentially with speed. He's been resilient in this last quarter, and that's a nice lofted ball over the top. We'll see if they can steer one forward. They do, but only to the hands of Michael Ablett. And as we mentioned, that 100-point deficit has finally arrived.
Yeah, 10 goals and then put it beyond the 100 points.
Yep.
So
takes a toll, doesn't it? That kick travels across the back line. Centre half back. We've got Kane Oldham. Thomas Comedier to play on. Had to be a kind bounce, but it didn't behave for Brewster. And now Kilcunda. Again, it's Ablett. He's just been the staunch structure back there for Kilcunda. And they'll disperse it out wide again. This time it's DeSando. Kick. Well, I'm not sure how it wasn't affected by Grennis. And now it's Beck again. Influential in this second half. Beautiful ball, and the delivery was nice for Hefford. But then his kick to Phillips. Now that's an egregious ball.
Yeah.
That's out on the full.
you can see what he's trying to do. He had a few numbers out on that outer side, but yeah, just the delivery, not that great.
Not
Now,
sure.
Where's McGarity?
Yeah.
That's who I'd be looking for.
Was about to say, not sure whether you can see it on the broadcast or not, but there seems to be some smoke, and I think that might emanate from Mason McGarity. That's hugged up against the boundary line, and that is a fitting finish.
Was it Hefford that kicked that? Was one of the ruckmen? I think it might have been Hefford.
Either way, that had to be
Or was it
precise.
Jackson? Was it Mockett?
Yeah, there was no room for error.
Have a look.
It
No, I
certainly
reckon, no,
wasn't McGarity.
No, it wasn't. Yes, well, it was Hefford by the looks of it because Mockett's already in the middle of the ground. So give that one to Hefford.
Now, there is minimal margin for error on that kick. That is impressive.
And the goal umpire didn't move. He kicked it straight over his head.
So nearly 25 minutes into this last quarter, it has been a day out for Warragul. 22-13, 145 to 5-6-36 on the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard, and they're still ravenous for more. Here's Oldham honouring the voice of Peck, but the hand pass a little indiscriminate and it's out of bounds.
One thing I also want to mention as well in terms of where these two clubs are at currently, Dylan, is just looking at the players. They look a lot younger, the Kilcunda-Bass side, so I think it's fair to say they're in a different phase of development as opposed to the Warragul side, who look like they've got a wealth of experience across every line.
So Kilcunda now just edging it forward. His foot, he's back up on his feet. And Baxter, good use of the body. He'll be hard to catch here, you'd think. He's still over the top if he needs, but he's quickly caught. And that is impeccable defence by Adrian DeStando.
Liked his game across half back. He's given them plenty of run, plenty of drive coming out of that back half.
Now, you think Nick Goon would be happy with this performance?
Yes, I think you would think that Nick Gooden is definitely
Gooden, rather.
happy with this team's performance today. He'd probably be happy that we haven't said his name too often today, Nick Gooden. He might be a bit heavier in the pocket compared to some other weeks. So, Nick Gooden, if you're listening, we're just going to try and say your name as many times as we can in this last quarter, Nick Gooden.
Gibson to Brewster, and they'll go forward again. McGarity, it was his to mark, and disappointingly, he's dropped it. In fact, he didn't even have hands to it. It was a great grab and good innovation by the defence. Goalie to Eddie.
He's been their best player, I think, Eddie. Yeah. I've really liked his game through the midfield and across half
Eddie
back.
to Dario, and now Dario's off. Now Foot, he'll quickly assess what's ahead. It was a great assessment because Baxter will be assembled underneath this one. And he'll take all the time in the world. No need to hurry. 27 minutes gone. He can reduce it to a 103-point margin.
Yeah, I think should go back and kick it. He's another one, liked his game, just hasn't had the ball come in there frequently enough, unfortunately.
So if anyone can hold his head high, it's Marcus Baxter. And he does kick Kilcunda's 6th.
Now, one more goal there's probably, I reckon, a couple of minutes left. So they've got time to get one more goal and get it under that 100-point margin. Does the Kilcunda-Bass side.
Just ticking over 27 and a half minutes and probably over the 30-minute mark for sure. About 9-10 goals kicked this quarter. Mockett in the ruck against Goalie again. That was just there for the taking for Gibson. Slung around in the tackle, experiencing plenty of longitude. Was the midfield for Warragul. And now, as Kyle said, another chance for a goal here for Kilcunda. Waitman over the top, or along the ground rather, for Dario. Had it attached to him, but was disarmed. And that is a dangerous kick. Didn't matter for Beck. Down the wing, here's McGarity in a different habitat. He'll still apply some pressure. Sorozinski, the pirouette. Over the top again, Dario, taken high with Sorozinski. Now, we saw his torpedo in the second quarter. Would you give him a chance from here?
You give him a chance, you reckon? Maybe.
Not this far out.
Now,
and unfortunately, it just slides along the ground. Waitman will tap it on to disadvantage. But Foot back up on his feet, as we said earlier, and he kicks a consolation goal. But we're just happy that there hasn't been an injury yet.
Yes, and they've got it under that 100 goal. Gee, that'd be a big margin. That 100-point deficit, 29 minutes gone in this final term. So for Kilcunda-Bass's sake, I think they'll be hoping the siren goes very shortly.
Yep. It does. It has a mental toll, doesn't it? A 100 as opposed to a 99-point margin.
I do want to make mention of number 6 from the Kilcunda-Bass side, the emergency.
Oh, Travis Stuckey, number 5?
Yes, he was it number 5?
Number 5, yep.
So who have we got down as number 6?
Grennis.
So Grennis looks like he's about 12. I'm going to go, I reckon he's a very young and raw player, so great to see that they're giving some of their younger players a go. I do exaggerate saying he's 12, but I reckon he'd be no older than 16, so he's obviously got a bright future ahead to be playing senior football at such a young age.
So remember the name. Travis Stuckey. Or rather, Ashton Grennis.
Now, they might even come to me and say, Kyle, he's 25. But based off what I saw before, he looked no older than 15 or 16.
So it skips into the hands of Mackenzie. And that's a nice mark by Ablett. One bounce for Beck. They'll just manoeuvre it across this back line, the line of defence. It's quite scattered, actually. No one really manning up. So Walker led up. In the end, the selection was Thomas Commandeer. Can't be long until the final siren sounds as Luke Walker's relocated. And was that a 50-metre? It was.
Yeah, I think he did mark it. He just slapped the ball out of his hand, so rightly so. Now,
It wasn't descent.
I'm on McGarity watch here because he'll be moving around. Now, I've just had someone come up from Warragul. Is he kicked 9 or 10?
There's the siren.
That's what we said. So.
Siren sounds. Luke Walker will have the final say. It's a 97-point lead at the moment. There's plenty on it. It's a torpedo. It won't get there, but it doesn't matter. It is a monstrous effort by Warragul. 22-13, 145 to 7-6, 48 on the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard.
Just couldn't get that 100-goal. Done it again. 100-point margin in the end, the Dusties, but a great game nonetheless. And we reckon we've just spoken with a Warragul Industrial supporter, and we're pretty certain that McGarity did end up with 10, which we did think was the case at the time, just based off the way they celebrated. So, a great game, and I've got no doubt that when we speak about him in our post-game show, that he will be getting the 3 votes. I might actually even reel off my votes.
All right, go for it.
While we go into
Post-game show brought to you by Fused by King G. Kyle Pover.
So I'm giving my 1 vote, and I think he was the best player on the ground for the Kilcunda-Bass side, and that's number 27, Ben Eddy. I liked his game. He gave it his all throughout the day. Maybe an apologies to Marcus Baxter. I thought he really fought hard and gave them a presence up forward when it was few and far between in terms of getting the ball in there. So, I thought he'd battled hard, but I'm giving my 1 vote to Ben Eddy from Kilcunda-Bass. My 2 votes goes to Shane Brewster, the captain of the Warragul side. I think his calming presence across half-back and later pushing into the midfield in the second half, I think he was one of the better players on the ground. So 2 to Shane Brewster.
He was beyond relaxed.
Yeah, he was just calm and composed at every opportunity he faced with. So, and I don't think it's any surprise as to who the best on ground is.
Let me take a guess.
We're going to go with Mason McGarity kicking 10.
Unusual.
As we said, we thought he was on 9, but the ways they celebrated that last goal, to me, suggests he kicked the 10. So we'll go with 10. And certainly my 3 votes, which I've got no doubt you'll probably be thinking something similar, Dylan, with your votes.
Yep, and even if he had 8 or 9, I still think that he was clearly the best player on the ground.
Well, it's not very often you see someone of his size kicking 10 goals. It's usually reserved for those big power forwards, but he's small in stature, but my God, his output is second to none. And as I said throughout the broadcast, his ability to win the ball in the air, but also at ground level, just creates such a headache for defenders going forward. But the way he was able to read the ball off the boot as well, he just knew where to lead, and his teammates, the chemistry between his midfielders and the way they were able to just put it on a silver platter for him at times was just second to none today. So a very deserving best on ground, Mason McGarity.
Now, nearly mirroring your 3 votes, or your 1, 2 and 3. 1 vote, I've gone with Kyle Beveridge.
Yes, probably apologies to not getting my votes. He was great all day.
So he had 4 goals on the scoreboard, but there was more than that. There was the 1%ers. He had some crushing tackles, and there was plenty of other things to be proud of for him. 2 votes. Shane Brewster, as I said, he was very relaxed, and that was just his territory. He demarcated the back line and said, "This is mine." And 3 votes, obviously, to Mason McGarity. 10 goals. And
he probably had then, I reckon he kicked 4 behinds, maybe 5.
Yep.
So he's had about 15 shots on goal. So he's had a day out.
So assuming he's kicked 10, he has 24 goals through 6 games. Now, that's a 4-goal game average.
It is,
4 goal per
considering
game
17 of them have come in 2.
Yep.
But I think it shows if you're an opposition side and you're coming up against Warragul Industrials, you need to put some time and effort into Mason McGarity to have any chance of winning, I think.
Post-game show brought to you by Fuse by King G. On to next week, Warragul. They're now 4-2, and as Kyle mentioned, they will play
I will bring
next
it up.
week. And just while you do, Kilcunda, they are now 1-5, 4 consecutive losses. They'll move down the ladder, and they do play Coralin, who will be 0-6. So that should be an interesting spectacle, and we'll hope that Kilcunda can bounce back.
Goon, I think that's a very...
For Warragul?
Yes, Warragul
Yes.
playing Goon next week, and Goon are a very good side, so that's going to be an interesting matchup next weekend. That'll be a great game. But as I said earlier in the broadcast, we're going to be match of the round next week. Tooradin Dalmore versus Inverloch Conlock out at Tooradin. So lock that one in, and looking forward to that game.
So third versus fourth at the moment on the
Yes.
ladder. So that should be a ball burster.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly going into the season, those two teams would have been penciled in to finish at the pointy end of the season. So looking forward to that one.
Now, around the grounds, Coralin will have their first win of the season. They have defeated Corranborough by 84 points, 15-18, 108 to 3-6-24.
I actually can't. I'm staggered that Coralin, that's their first win of the season, because they are a good side.
Yep.
Maybe they've just started off a little bit slow, but Coralin are a very good side. And we did them back in round one against Phillip Island, and Phillip Island were able to get on top of them there, who are also a very good side. But yeah, mind you, they have had a tough draw to begin with, the Cobras. So I still wouldn't be surprised to see them finish the season strong and potentially sneak into that final five at the end of the season.
Tooradin defeating Garfield by 111 points, 20-10, 130 to 2 goals, 7-19. So Garfield are still they're at the bottom of the ladder now, and they're still tucked away there, and they'll look to reply next week. Inverloch 6-8-44 have beaten Bunyip 1-5-11, so that is definitely an affair that was scarce of goals and deprived of them. Phillip Island, as I said, have beaten Coowee Rupp, and here today Warragul were able to defeat Kilcunda by 97 points. It was an interesting first half, and then complete authority by Warragul. They manhandled them in the second half thanks to Mason McGarity with 10 goals, and the next best leading goal kicker was Kyle Beveridge, who received my one vote. Maybe a little unlucky not to be in Kyle Pover's one vote, but he is the expert commentator.
He will feature, though, into our next segment, which is a great little segue into our goal of the day, which is brought to you by King G Trade Comfort Max, a real comfortable work boot for those tradies out there, exclusive to Totally Workwear as well. So make sure you get into the new store out in Pakenham with existing stores in Traralgon, Warragul and Wonthaggi to say good day to Nick Gooden, who, as we all know, is the footy manager here at the Warragul Industrials, but he's also the store manager out at the Warragul store for Totally Workwear. So get on out and say good day to Nick Gooden, and Nick Gooden will certainly be happy to see you, and so say good day whilst you're out there. But goal of the day to that man Kyle Beveridge, that goal in the second quarter where he's able to rove it off the I think it was the ruckman in Mockett was able to bring it back in towards the corridor. We did say at the time, though, that probably a little bit disappointing that they were able to leave that open from a Kilcunda-Bass sense, but that was a great roving and then left foot snap goal. Our mark of the day, which is proudly brought to you by Fuse by King G, again found at Totally Workwear stores, Gippsland. That man Ben Eddy, who featured in my votes, and I thought he tried hard all day, and his mark earlier the third quarter, he was able to backpack into a pack, no regard for his safety, and going back with the flight. I thought he was the Fuse by King G mark of the day. Yep.
I would like to say the same for our Fuse by King G goal of or rather King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day. As you mentioned, Kyle Beveridge. It was a little serendipitous for the ball to it didn't show manners to Jackson Mockett in the end, and it bounced directly back into his hands. It was a brilliant smother, but just the perseverance to keep going towards the footy and kick the goal, and it was...
He probably had the two. He probably has rights for the top 2 goals today, Kyle Beveridge, with some of his goals. So he was certainly one of the better players on the ground and featured in your votes and was an honourable mention in mine.
And then the Valorous Mark, brought to you by Fused by King G Mark of the Day, received 1 vote from Kyle if you just joined us, on the opposing team as well. So a fair performance, that's by Benjamin Eddy, back with the fly, braced for contact, contorted his body, took the mark, and, well, in the end, it was a major defeat, but there is still some bright spot for Kilcunda to look ahead for next week.
Yeah, I think they'll look at the first half of the game and think that there's opportunities moving forward. I think just when getting it inside 50, that if they can lock it in for a little bit longer and put a little bit more scoreboard pressure on, I think going forward they're going to be okay. Yeah, it was a great day today, and I think the margin probably didn't reflect the output that Kilcunda-Bass were able to put in throughout the day.
So that'll do it for today. Warragul fans and Warragul players will be enraptured after Mason McGarrity's 10-goal effort. They defeated Kilcunda by 97 points in the Fairhaven Homes Game of the Week, supported by Totally Workwear, Gippsland stores. New store open in Pakenham, and be sure to check out the existing stores in Traralgon, Warragul and Wonthaggi. So 145 to 48 on the Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard, and we'll look ahead to next week, but that'll do it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you.